Hi, my name is Steve Hillebrand, and I'm a father of Mrs. D or Mrs. DeNardis. And I'm a veteran of the United States Army, where I was an officer. The highest rank I had was major.
What is an interesting thing you remember about being in the service?
The coolest thing I remember was when I was in Afghanistan. I would go into Kabul every once in a while just to see the city, to do some shopping on a street called Chicken Street. And every time you went to Chicken Street, there was a little boy. His name was Pasha, and he'd see me. And I had not been there for maybe a month or two at a time, and he'd always remember my name. And I said my name once was Mr. Damit, and he'd call out, Damit, Damit, as he'd come running at me. And I always remembered he had the same pink shoes, little pink tennis shoes he'd wear, because he didn't have other shoes. They didn't have shoes at all. And somebody had volunteered or given those shoes to him, and that's all he wore, was these little pink shoes. His name was Pasha, and he was about 10 years old. I don't think he went to school, but he was about 10 years old.
How long were you in the service?
I started in 1986, and I resigned in about 2004. So I was in about 18 years, 6 of that being active duty, and the rest of it being in the reserves.
And why are you no longer in the service?
I love the Army. I love the service. I love serving the country, and it was the greatest thing I had ever done. But the hardest thing I ever had to do was leave my family. And when I left for Afghanistan, my youngest son was about 2 years old, not even 2. My other son was about 4. Leslie, or Mrs. DeNardis, was 16, and my other son was 18 or 17. And it was very difficult for them to talk to me, because back then we really didn't have internet very well. I couldn't see them. We didn't have videos. There's sometimes I went weeks without talking to them, and I was gone for a month, or actually I was gone for a year. And I knew that if I stayed in, I would be called back, because we were still at war in Afghanistan and Iraq, and I wouldn't see them again. And I just couldn't do that to them or do that to the kids or to myself.
Is there anything else that you want to tell us about, or anything interesting or cool that you did?
Well, there was one cool thing. Now, I looked a lot cooler back in 1987 when this happened, but when I was in field artillery, I was a second lieutenant, and I just started out. And there was an exercise where we had to go up in a helicopter, and it was a 2-seat helicopter, and I had to watch actually rockets come over the horizon. So I had to be on the helicopter while these rockets came over the horizon. And there isn't a helicopter that I ever didn't get sick in. I always got sick in every helicopter there was, but this one I didn't. I was sitting in the front seat, and it was with the Oklahoma National Guard. And he actually let me fly it. He was a warrant officer, and he says, "Sir, do you want me to fly the helicopter?" And I'm going, "Well, I don't know how to fly a helicopter." And he taught me, and he said I was a natural, and I hovered, and I went all over the place, just wasting time until the rockets came over the horizon. It was one of the coolest things I ever was able to do.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.